This is my show of force build. So it's a 4-piece tip of the spear. You've got the Coyote's mask as the exotic piece, and I'm running the contractor's gloves. Everything is set to critical hit chance, critical hit damage. Weapons of choice here are the FAMAS with preservation rolled onto it. And then we've got my favorite exotic of all time, the Scorpio. It's very hard to pull myself away from running a build that doesn't have the Scorpio. For the pistol, I've got the Orbit. It just sort of sits there and does nothing. Gotta admit, I should probably use it a little bit more often than I do, but it's there if I need it, which is kind of never. So the idea behind this build is to liberally use the grenade launcher to soften up and or kill targets, which will in turn proc the damage boost that you get from the 4-piece aggressive recon. So dealing damage with a signature weapon increases total weapon damage by 20% for 60 seconds. And if you run the chest piece, that bumps that up to 40%, which is very juicy. Backpack. The reason why we're running this backpack is for the signature moves talent that this gear piece comes with. Increases signature weapon damage by 20% and doubles the amount of signature weapon ammo that you generate from aggressive recon. And if you'll notice in the aggressive recon, you are getting ammo every 60 seconds. So every 60 seconds I'm getting, I believe it's 2 grenades every 60 seconds. So I can use this repeatedly without worrying about running out of ammo. Now, as for the Demolitionist spec itself, the reason why we're running this is for obvious purposes. We need that grenade launcher. This whole build is designed around the grenade launcher. But there are some other really nice perks that you get from running this. So the stimulant patch, you get that 100% repair and 30% weapon handling for 30 seconds, or by 30% for 15 seconds. And then you get some burn resistance. Neither here nor there. Fragmentation grenade, which I do not use. If I wanted to trigger bleed on enemies, I would switch to the fragmentation, but for this one, I just stuck with your regular grenade. It does more damage anyways. You get increased explosive damage, which again ties into the whole grenade launcher thing. And then we've got crisis response, which is nice. I don't know how often this necessarily comes in handy, but when you lose your armor, it refills your main weapon. This is also nice to have. It can ignore explosions, so like drones, grenadiers, they don't kick you out of cover, at least, the initial explosion. This only triggers every 60 seconds, so unfortunately, if you're getting spammed, it's just that first one that you'll ignore, and all the rest of them are going to kick you out of cover. But this does come in handy. And then group members. They're going to get 5% damage to targets out of cover, which is nice if you're running with a group. So the way that this build functions is you are going to break out the grenade launcher. You're going to lob it at an enemy. It doesn't have to be a group of enemies, but of course groups of enemies are preferred. And that will proc the talent, and then you can switch to whichever weapon you have, and you will have a nice juicy damage bonus. So I will now demonstrate that. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we're currently set to Heroic. You can see out here, shooting range, set to Heroic. I'm going to set this to Elite. I'm going to set this to optimal range for ARs on this, which is about 15 meters. I'm going to trigger my Coyote's mask. You can see the little blue icon that just showed up below my ammo counter. That's indicating that I am in the mid-range. Mid-range damage boost, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Coyote's mask, the mid-range boost is that 15 to 25 meters, and I'm going to gain an additional 10% critical hit damage and 10% critical hit chance. And just for reference, my FAMAS is sitting at that 50% critical hit chance sweet spot. So this Coyote's mask is going to fill in that gap. I'm going to be sitting right at that 60% cap for critical hit chance, as well as getting a nice little critical hit damage boost. So we're going to grenade. You'll see that the damage boost has been procced. I can now switch back to my FAMAS. and I can go to town. And you can see that it's quite melty. Now, I am running a FAMAS with preservation on it. Reason being is this is an all-red build, and I need some level of survivability on this, and there's actually 2 levels of survivability. First one comes from the preservation talent on here. If you guys are unfamiliar with the preservation talent, it's 10% armor over time, so it's over 5 seconds. It's not instant, but if you get a headshot, you're going to get 20% armor over time. Very strong. In addition to that, I run the Fixer Drone. This is essentially giving me a 1% armor regen, constant armor regen. So it's better than nothing. But I have discovered that this combination between these two helps keep me alive quite well. So, and I will now demonstrate the Scorpio. And I apologize if you can hear my cats in the background. They are very upset that I'm not showing them any attention right now. So we'll proc damage. We'll switch to the Scorpio. And in most instances, you're going to 3 or 4 shot elites. Just like that. Very strong. So as far as the gear pieces themselves, I'll just go from gear piece to gear piece, kind of showing off what I have rolled onto it. You know, for the Coyote's mask, it's going to be that critical hit chance and damage. I've got a critical hit chance mod thrown on there. For the chest piece, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. The goal with this build was to get 50% critical hit chance for my FAMAS, and then invest everything else into critical hit damage. And I believe that we did that quite nicely. So this one happens to be rolled a critical hit chance. This one, again, critical hit damage with a critical hit damage mod. Contractor's gloves with critical hit damage rolled onto there. And knees with critical hit chance. So these pieces are extremely easy to farm for. All you got to do is set your targeted loot on countdown to tip of the spear. You'll probably get these within 1 or 2 runs. You're basically just looking for one that's going to drop with either critical hit chance or critical hit damage in the attribute. And then you're going to fill in the gaps as needed with your mods. So you can just as easily switch the critical hit chance mods out for critical hit damage. As far as contractor's gloves go, you're probably going to get one of these from a hunter. You can set the targeted loot to Petrov defense and run countdown. You'll probably get this pretty quickly, since the damage to armor attribute on there is static with this one, because that is its inherent attribute. You just need a decent core attribute roll, so you're not investing super heavily into optimizing that. Then you can just roll the other attribute to damage or chance, depending on what you need. So this build is very, very easy to farm for. You don't have to run the FAMAS. I just really like the FAMAS. It's very stable, really high damage output. But if you have a favorite AR, you could just as easily run it here. Just make sure you have preservation rolled onto it. But I do highly recommend the Scorpio. This has been a staple for a lot of my builds for a very long time. And I am running the Reviver High for those times when I make an oopsie and I need to be revived. I did see a streamer mention that you could run something like these China Light Industries, and I did actually have this on this build at one point for that additional explosives damage, but I found that I actually get better damage numbers from the grenade launcher by running contractors, and that's because of the damage to armor attribute. So damage for the grenade launcher is right around 3 million under normal circumstances. And let me show you that real quick. So there it is. Just a little over 3 million per shot. That's more than enough to, completely decimate red and purples, and it softens up the yellows quite nicely. Let me restock here. And I'll just do a quick demonstration out in the open here. Let's see if we can get lucky and take on a resource convoy. Those are definitely fun with this build. It doesn't look like we're going to get that, so we're going to go take my favorite checkpoint. And as far as the outfit my character is wearing, the outfit pieces in the current global event are bugged, and it's not displaying properly, so it's not exactly the look I was going for. And yes, I'm looting because this is like a knee-jerk reaction to me at this point. If I see loot, I have to loot. I'm sorry. I just have to. And we're going to take the long way around. We're going to approach from the left side of the checkpoint, not the right side today. And like I've mentioned before, this build is just a ton of fun during the Golden Bullet global event. You will have to try it out. It's just too much fun. It's crazy overpowered. Alright, let's showcase the power of this build, hopefully, and not die and feel stupid. So we've softened him up, we've sowed some chaos. Guy is getting a little close for comfort, so we're going to switch to Scorpio. Nice headshots. You can see my health going up really rapidly when I get those headshots. We've got somebody that's hiding behind cover here. Got some kills there. Now, if they're lower tier, if they're a bunch of red bars, yeah, grenade launcher will absolutely make mincemeat out of them. Elites, they take a little bit more punishment. And you do want to be mindful of the damage proc. You want to make sure it's constantly up, so you will want to periodically switch to the grenade launcher, lob around, switch back. Yeah. I think that one kind of went wild.
Detected. Location guarded by hostiles.
Said anything about fighting fair. There we go. Alright, that's the checkpoint. We'll get up top here and then we'll call in some reinforcements. Oops, here we go. Climb.
Reinforcements incoming. Incoming hostiles detected.
You can see that I still have a fair amount of grenade ammo as it is constantly regenerating.
Hostiles guarding location nearby.
There we go. Just going for that satchel. Get out from hiding.
Detected. Nearby location guarded by hostiles.
I'll let them deal with that straggler. Boy, I'm just a potato aim right now. There we go. Where's this other guy? Oh, there he is.
I've got you. Today.
Heavily armored hostile detected. Hostiles guarding location nearby.
Alright, everyone, and that is my show of Force Build.